Sports Confederation and Olympic Committee held its third annual Indaba this past week. Athletes were provided the platform to raise their concerns ahead of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games starting in July next year, as well as the Paralympic Games beginning shortly after the Olympics. To get more on this, we are joined by Sascoc Athletes Commission Chair and Olympic silver medalist Khotso Mokoena. Khotso, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
You know, this is not the first time an Indaba of this sort is being held. I think I stand corrected, but you also had something similar last year. And looking ahead to 2024, what was different this time around, if anything?
Yeah, so just to take you back on how the Athletes Indaba started. It started when the current Athletes Commission came into the term of office for the Athletes Commission. Is that we wanted to create a platform that where athletes can come and share their concerns and also, to raise their voice. But more above that is not just to come and share the grievances and to share the problems that the athletes are going through, but also to map up the future, to see what is it that we can do to continue to support the athletes and to continue to help them to get to that victory. I do believe that there's a lot that comes into winning, and it's not always just the funds, which are really important resources, but it's always about what is it that you can do extra to elevate your performance, and I think that's what's really important.
As we are heading closer to 2024 now, looking at the Olympics and the Paralympics, the time is a little bit shorter in comparison to the last Indaba that you had. What are some of the issues that the athletes raised, specifically looking ahead to 2024 Paris Olympics?
Athletes have a lot of issues that obviously we can't, it's impossible to raise all the issues in one day. But positively with this Athletes Indaba, there wasn't too many issues that were raised. There was maybe perhaps one where, when we speak about qualifications in terms of selection criteria for the teams, where else, most federations still have to build a system of communicating with the athletes, which I think most federations are now actually doing that quite well. But more importantly, athletes, I think they raised comments such as that they need to be able to find other ways of training, whether we can go outside to find help for these athletes that can assist them to achieve. I think it's always about a team goal in order for you to win a medal or just become a great athlete. I remember with myself, I always worked with different coaches around the world, that helped my local coach to assist me with other things. Hence I was able to reach some success. And I think it's something that we have to look at as national federations as well.
What about issues like doping and just, how athletes command themselves within competition, within competition as it is?
Yeah, it's a very important question that you're asking, and thank you for that, because normally we don't speak about doping. We always speak about the problems that the athletes are facing. But if you look at how things are going at the sports right now, the bar is getting higher and higher where athletes are doping. In fact, from the school level, which is a problem, from the school sports level, we've got athletes that are doping all the way to the high Olympian, Paralympian athletes, and it's something that starts with education, and I think this is what we are implementing also as the Athletes Commission. We've got a couple of webinars that we are hosting with athletes to speak about these the problems of doping and how to conduct yourself as athletes, and also to get more information on how you can actually keep yourself safe.
Well, one of the big issue, Khotso, that most athletes talk about is the dreaded F word, funding and finance. How do you address that? I've spoken to a number of Paralympians on this show, and they were talking about one of the biggest challenges that they face is funding. They have to go and do crowdfunding and many other things just to make sure that they get themselves in tip-top condition.
Yeah, and let me quickly start with saying that sports is not cheap. Sports is a very expensive career. It's a very expensive hobby for those who are doing it as a hobby. And also, of course, it's a very expensive career. And therefore, we athletes, we need a lot of support, and I think that's something that the government can't do on its own. We need to lobby private companies to come and understand on how athletes live their lives, understand the things that the athletes go through to prepare for the country to be at the center stage, for the country to witness a country's flag go up on that podium stage. I think we need to be able to have that conversation as national federations, as us as the NOC of South Africa, to sit with the corporate world and speak about what are the possibilities on looking on some different doors that they can open to fund the national federations.
Another issue that most athletes talk about, Khotso, is the issue of just the mental challenge around this, the support that either we put in too much pressure for expectation, or you go to the Olympics or World Champs, you come back with 0 medals, and we come hard on those things. In terms of the support for those kind of things, whether you succeed or not, is there that sort of support for athletes, and was it raised in this Indaba?
Absolutely. I think that the topics on mental health are skyrocketing, especially amongst athletes as well. I think this is what we also witnessed during our Indaba on Friday, is that athletes are crying out for help. And what we have also implemented at Sascoc is that we do have now psychologists traveling with us in the team. Every time we leave for the teams, there is a psychologist that's traveling with that's also there in the games, in the village with the athletes, that's assessing how the athletes are doing, and also giving the athletes that privacy so that they can also, approach to speak on the mental wellness with them. Athletes think that going to a psychologist, it's like, you're mentally ill, and you're not, and I think us implementing that, we give the athletes, speak to their coaches regarding their mental health, because they're afraid that they're going to be judged. So that's why we have these teams of psychologists traveling with us. And I would like to also encourage more of the national federations to do so with their teams when they travel as well. It is very helpful.
And finally, Khotso, are we on track? I mean, Paris is just around the corner. From your vantage point,
I believe so. I really believe so. I really believe so that, already we saw the hockey, the men's and the ladies team qualifying for the Olympic Games. So I think there's more teams that are still going to qualify. There are other athletes, individual athletes who have also qualified. So I think we are slowly catching up. But I also think that we also need to look beyond. I really think once we come out of the 2024, remember that 2020 to 2024, to 2023, to me, it's still that almost like that pandemic that we're still trying to recover. I think once we come out of 2024, I think the Olympic Games in 2028 will be something spectacular, including the 2026 Commonwealth Games will be something spectacular. I think the community, we need to look at the 2024 Paris Games, or Paralympic Games, as a stepping stone into 2028, and then it will be a different ball game.
Fantastic. Khotso, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for talking to us.